are you doing? That's a Fleming. You know, like the Flemings that planned World War II. She's much more innocent, but she's got the five-pronged icon like the orchid on her shoulder, and she is singing an angelic song. And I've just had a message from the gods to have another wee look at Edmond De Rothschild, because having a look at what he's done in his 99-year-old career with just one directorial registration is a big mistake for a serious fraud researcher. So let's shrink this little Fleming down into the background and away into the havens, and let's have a look at what I've discovered about Edmond de Rothschild's and his role in the havens. Okay, so it's Edmond de Rothschild. I just searched for that in company check, and this time when you scroll down you get kind of hit right between the eyes. This is no longer in the Cheapside area where the Bank of England registration is. It's a whole new series. Edmond de Rothschild Securities UK Limited, 4 Carlton Gardens, London, SW1Y 5AA. Just 10 million or so at the bank, but that's probably why Will Carling was picked to be Princess Diana's lover, and to be the captain of the English rugby team. The last time I saw him, he was talking to people from the Bristol area who wrote the Christian Bible and translated it. That's the Tyndall area. No, it's not the Tyndalls, it's the people that used to play number 8 for the English rugby team when Will Carling was its great leader. Yeah, Edmond de Rothschild Capital Holdings Limited, also 4 Carlton Gardens. They've also got 6 million or so at the bank and a net worth of 5 million or so. Edmond de Rothschild Services Limited. Yeah, he's serving himself really, really well since he was born in 1916. 4 Carlton Gardens, director numbers all given. Same address in every one of these. Edmond de Rothschild Private Merchant Banking Limited. Edmond de Rothschild UK Limited. It's a patriotic service this time. We mentioned yesterday, and I've just posted them on the last video, about the reparations that are paid in every conflict, and they're still being paid in all of the Rothschild directorates for the way that they partitioned Israel and Palestine in 1947. And the Harry Truman picture I have not even put on the last video I made, which was 45 minutes long, on the one set of interlocks out of St Swithin's Lane. None of that is mentioned on this listing. Edmond de Rothschild UK Limited, Edmond de Rothschild Asset Management UK Limited. He's a loyalist. Edmond de Rothschild Client Nominees UK Limited, Edmond de Rothschild Asset Management International Limited. Oh, he's gone slightly across national boundaries and maybe across the channel because of that French connection thing that I keep talking to you about. And I talk about Baroness Blackstone and the English-French Chamber of Commerce that she runs as she scams Britain out of the Channel Tunnel contract, and then she scams all of our students into a massive debt pool run entirely by these patriots. Yeah, with Will Carling as their chosen public school boy, and he's the one who told my friend, who was the Scottish rugby captain, that it was really dangerous to get involved with the people that look after Princess Diana. Princess Diana now sadly knows that, and all that Will Carling did in the rugby and sporting frauds is explained in these director registrations. Some of them have no addresses. Baron Edmond de Rothschild, 904 84 2862, no postcode available. Yeah, it would take you hours to get through the almost 100-year life of people like this. Baron Benjamin Edmund Morris de Rothschild, that's probably another one. Okay, I've got my work cut out to cover the ground that they steal from and they render absolutely sinister by the creation of shallow graves everywhere their armies go. Baron Benjamin Edmund Morris de Rothschild, Edmond De Rothschild UK Limited, Southwest 1 Y5AA. No postcode available. Edmond De Rothschild Investment Partners, LCF Edmond De Rothschild Securities Limited. That might be the G4S vans, but one has no way of knowing unless you have loads of time to enter each one of their hundreds and hundreds of commitments to steal from the world and every country's issuance of money. European company results for Edmond De Rothschild. Edmond De Rothschild Fund, B76441, 20 Boulevard Emmanuel Services, Survey, Luxembourg, 2535. That's the Emmanuel Christianity jokes again. Yeah, showing 1 to 10 of 35 EU company results. Edmond De Rothschild Investment Advisors, B88591. I don't think I'm going to have the time to give you the company numbers, and we cannot get any information but his involvement in these massive international frauds. 16 Boulevard Emmanuel Survey, Luxembourg, 2532. Edmond De Rothschild Asset Management, Benelux. I met the very tall people that look spookily like the son of Rupert Murdoch. That's James Murdoch, and his girlfriend is Belgian. I met them in Lidl's German supermarket yesterday. The whole of the Jehovah's people are dead ringers for people that are in the story about world history and world ownership. And today the delegation that came to call was from Gala Shields. Yeah, they're aware of my potency. They know I find out everything about them. And the wee lassie that looks just like the woman that was kidnapped in Portugal, as all the covers, she has disappeared from the family group, and I saw her mum. Yeah, so that is it Holly Gregg, or is it, I forget the name of the girl that disappeared in Portugal, and the British police have a good time over there in the Mithraeum looking for her all the time. Yesterday on the front page of the pictures, when the mum was stripped of the girl when she walked past my house, they have a picture of her on the front page, but they declare that the police cannot afford now to go to Portugal on such an expensive venture in pursuit of justice. Edmond De Rothschild Asset Management, Benelux, Marnixie-Laan 28, Brussels 1000. Edmond De Rothschild 393 957 097, 2 Avenue de Monte Carlo. Yeah, where Jeremy Clarkson likes to party with the fascists, and Princess Grace took a fall after she came out of one of the tunnels that they had the contract to build, and then to end her life as an innocent as part of the Bing Crosby war bonds joke and the true love concept, which was the name of the yacht. I give to you what you give to me, true love. Yeah, she's off the back of the boat like Maxwell, the Czechoslovakian guy, and all of them that get topped are relatively innocent compared to Prince Philip that we mentioned in the earlier video about Edmond de Rothschild and the killing of Lord Mountbatten and Lord Mountbatten's bastard child Peter Sellers, who makes jokes about Queen Victoria's only legitimate child Marcos Manuel on the Isle of Wight, and all of the drug runners from New Zealand that are allowed to escape from the Isle of Wight but are given a funeral in the free press. It is a scandal. All of these things are done to cover the ownership of the world and the dismemberment of the world's capability, honesty and truthfulness. Compagnie Vinicole Edmond de Rothschild. Do you remember old King Cole, who tried to be as powerful as the Rothschilds and turn the tide around? On the south coast, like the French invasion that the Edmund De name reminds you a little bit about. And that launches all of the jokes about Bishop Odo, who was involved in the Normandy region where they did the tapestry job in the false news. Okay, Edmond de Rothschild, Euro Opportunities, SCA, SICAR, 20 Boulevard Emmanuel Servais, Luxembourg. It's a little tax haven on the mainland of Europe. But I missed an important one. We've mentioned all of the Parisian frauds, all of the things about the Dreyfus affair, all of the things about warmongering against Islam, when Islam is a united part of the team, and that's openly declared in all of the street names and the the arrondissement, Aryan frauds that mean that the master race like to have a good time with the bunny girls in the Parisian sleaze dens. Company Vinicole Edmond de Rothschild, 47 Rue Faubourg Saint-Honoré. Nothing that happens in Paris is honourable, and I don't know what that saint does. I will know it by the end of the week, unless I get another letter from my wife's solicitor or a visit from the Jehovah's Witnesses, which in the Monty Python Life of Brian is used as the word for the blasphemy and the stoning of the people that spread the message as it is written in every one of the false religions. I explained to them that I was frustrated by the Jehovah's neutrality. I admired their capacity not to let their own children be killed in conflict because they're pacifists. But they now have lawsuits against the Church of Rome because each of them is trying to secure the money stream from the innocent parishioners that get killed in every one of these pre-planned conflicts. LCF Edmond de Rothschild, Consul, 16 Boulevard, it's Luxembourg again. Edmond de Rothschild, Rue des Serbes, my French is a little bit weak, 7A9, 7 and 9, Cannes, that's where the film festival is. So we've been to Monaco with the Grand Prix, we've now gone to Cannes, and you can see why they take big suitcases with them. Can you see that? There's the illegitimate Royal Mail just gone past again. That's the Vince Cable scandal, one of his Vince Cable scandals. There are page after page of this portfolio Edmond de Rothschild fund. Well, that might be a cash fund. You know, they might be able to get an ice cream when they're out there. 20 Boulevard, oh, it's in Luxembourg. So is the next one. Edmond de Rothschild's Euro Opportunities 2 SCA SICAR, as if we have the evolution of a primitive Ponzi scheme in Luxembourg. Next page. This is a really neat scam. You cannot just go down the lists of 290. You've got to read them all one at a time and carefully return to the top of the next page, 11 to 20 of 35. Edmond de Rothschild Asset Management, SAS. That could be a cover for the videos I've made on Valerie Jane Lees, the SAS, the Cahill family and the killing of people by Jonathan Aitken, the murderous member of the Beaverbrook lineage, like all of the Beaverbrook lineage, prepared to kill and dismember entire continents so that they can rise to the head of society, become the propagandists, become the air munitions industry, and then become the owners of massive art galleries in New Brunswick, where he started murdering people in the first place. Jonathan, to my knowledge, has only murdered the one person, Alison Arridge, a friend of Gordon Bowden, who's now getting everything opened up by the BBC, but the only news that we've got is that he was allowed to enter their building. Nothing about what he reported or the reaction of British law enforcement and the British propaganda sector to what he's reported has ever come out. Yeah, they've got thousands of hits on YouTube, and all of it is just the same as the Bing Crosby war frauds. They raise the funds for the causes, and the freedom fighters just have a laugh because they're the profiteers that run both sides in every conflict and bankrupt everybody so that these greedy bastards can run the world in its chaotic way. Okay? Edmond De Rothschild Asset Management, SAS VBR. Oh, this one's in Belgium, 9999. That's the route to Hitler's nest, is Autobahn 999 in Bavaria. In Belgium, they've got 9,999 in their street address jokes. Edmund De Rothschild Asset Management, SAS Deutschland über alles. I've explained to you how you get the Sieg Heil thing from the Jewish angels that we explained in the video that explains the death of all those people that sing about dark-eyed Molly and make all the jokes about Halles being the marketplace near Chipping Norton and also right in the centre of Paris, which became the subway hell joke. Bockenheimer Landstrasse, Frankfurt. Might you have heard of the Rothschilds being in the Frankfurt ghettos and owning now the European Central Bank in that region? And Mario Monti, one of the bosses, is allowed to be on the directorate at the London Stock Exchange. And Dim Wim Buisberg is dim in the eyes of the English profiteers because he's an honest man, and he is honest enough to be murdered by these people and to be found face down in his swimming pool. He's a Dutchman. Yeah? They have a lot of trouble with water and the dams because the Dutch royals are also narcotic launderers. They do that in Prince Philip's light tubes. Isn't that funny and jocular that you can run the world as a genocide project and you make the money to fund that from narcotics now, and the money lenders that Jesus warned us about, who are all mentioned in these listings for one director in the family. Oh, the Royal Mail is turning around. That could be a policy decision, but I very much doubt it. Edmond De Rothschild Investment Partners. They've got friends. Yeah, they've got friends in Tony Blair's warmongering regime, George W. Bush's warmongering regime, Berlusconi's warmongering regime, the Chinese Quisling socialist millionaire regime. Every one of the G8 governments is corrupted. They've tried to make it the G7 since I explained Putin's role in life and his relative fitness as an individual compared to every one of the deceitful bastards that sit in the prime ministerial or presidential role. Le Cercle, Edmond De Rothschild, 47, that's 47 Rue de Faubourg Saint-Honoré, Paris, where the silk stockings are traded by Bing Crosby's friends and the men that make the Hogan's Heroes film, which is a joke about the American Indians' dwelling place, the Hogan. Isn't that funny that you can cull everybody all over the world and you can make a vicious laugh about it everywhere you go and everywhere where you steal from the innocent citizens and the taxpayers? Edmond de Rothschild, multi-management, Oneri, Paris, wheat. I cannot do the numbers. It's even more difficult in Germany. Thank good. Oh, we're into Ireland. The sectarian place, Edmond de Rothschild Asset Management International Limited, IE 464929 70 Sir John Rogerson's Way, Key, Dublin 2216410 1E. That could be the key where they sing those songs about tax evasion. I forget the name of the singer. Harbour Lights. Yet they make movies about that man being a tax exile and him making a fortune by cheating in financial services. Harbour Lights. I forget his name. He's a legend in Hollywood. Banque Privée, Edmond De Rothschild, Europe. That could be a joke about the toilet. The privy is the toilet. The joke about Michael Moore's constituency, where the Jehovah's came from this morning in Galashiels, is that they were the last people to get real sanitation in the Borders region. So they are called, because they don't have a toilet and a flushing system, they just have to sit on a pail, and they are called the Pale Marks. Isn't that funny? They're ever so loyal. When I mentioned the massive frauds run by Michael Moore, some of them, in fact there were 4 in the delegation, extremely well dressed, and 2 of them said, when I mentioned the P&O scams that he runs and the Borders College being in Dubai, they proudly proclaimed that some of their relatives worked for P&O. That's how it works. If you've got a cabal that runs a syndicate that gives you the right to work and puts you into fear of death if you give up your right to work and you become innocent, I'm very frustrated by the Jehovah's. They're intelligent people. They work relentlessly for what they believe in. But it is just another money stream into New York. And as soon as I mentioned the Taze Russell thing, they began to blush a bit, because he proclaimed that the world would be saved in 1914. And everything that they talk about says that Jehovah gives them their commands. And in Deuteronomy, which is why the Pythons laugh at this bit, it proclaims that the only important one of God's laws is that the Lord in the sky is the only thing that humans should worship. And what we've got now is a whole plethora of choices that are all written about by the same families, and all of them are messianic profit streams. That is also the case for Islam and also the case for Buddhism. I've learned all of that relatively recently. So the Banque Privée, the Pale Marks, like Michael Moore, poor guy, he's Irish, he's subjected to sectarian pressures, and his ancestors had to shit in a pail in the little privy outside the house. Isn't that tragic? Daiwa Capital Limited, this is into the fishing industry now. Daiwa make fishing tackle. LCF Edmond De Rothschild International Bond Fund. Treason, profiteering, gold bars, Fort Knox. The whole of the bond scam is a theft against the people, and then you commit genocide against all of the world's people and cast them into a debt burden that is now on the 7th or 8th shelf of everything that they have done to render our whole world chaotic, owned entirely by them with no consciences. That's in Luxembourg, different street. Oh no, it's Emmanuel again. Edmund Rothschild Private Equity, China. You remember that one? The Shakira China Link Management SRL, Luxembourg. Edmund De Rothschild Euro Opportunities Management. This is the 3rd one of that Ponzi. Next page. You should have a go on Company Check. See what your local councillor does and why they will not give the other public servants in your region any form of pay rise. Private sector, public sector, everyone is stitched up. If you're in their armies, you are stitched up in Royal Wootton Bassett, which is part of Prime Minister Cameron's profiteering efforts, linked into everything that they do to brutalise the free world and the innocent peace-loving countries. right next door to Chipping Norton. The Banque Privée again, Luxembourg again, Honoré Saint-Aurenie, Edmond De Rothschild Asset Management. How many of those do we have already? We have not looked at one of these and looked at the complexities and how many shells they are. Oh, here we go. We're into nuclear weapons free South Africa. Edmond De Rothschild SA, registered in Paris, in the Honoré place, Saint Honoré, Paris 8, arrondissement for the master race and the Aryan joke. Edmond De Rothschild Private Equity China, SCA, SICAR, Luxembourg. Edmond De Rothschild Euro Opportunities Management for the 5th time. Fort Ronsheim, Luxembourg. Edmond De Rothschild Prefund on Aber G Prefund, Luxembourg. Daiwa Capital LCF Edmond De Rothschild Equity Management SA, again, Luxembourg. Edmond De Rothschild Corporate Finance, Paris, Arrondissement 8. Edmond De Rothschild Asset Management, Paris, Arrondissement 8. And another Euro Opportunities one. Next page. We must be getting down near the bottom. You cannot get lower than this. And I forgot to mention it all yesterday when we talked about the reparations for the creation of Israel in 1947 and all of the shareholdings that one member of their family has in that. Let's see if we can get the trading details of the traitors. Hello, Serious Fraud Office? Hello? Hello? Have you committed a criminal offence? Thank you for your time and your diversion and your loyalty to your country. Nobody responding. Right then, we're on the last page. I'm glad to say 31 to 35 of 35 results. Daiwa Capital LCF Edmond De Rothschild Management SA, Edmond De Rothschild Capital Partners, Edmond De Rothschild Courtage Services. Now I'm very interested in the one in Monaco because that is where Beaverbrook and Churchill party, and it's where Craig White has one of his houses, and it's where all of the elites love to go. And when Peter Eyre was my friend, he was invited to investigate why the Rockefellers were refused access to the elite yacht that was moored in Monaco as the New World Order began to develop a new branch that is going to liberate the gold that was stolen in World War II in the South Pacific. Isn't that heroic? Yeah? Peter Eyre is just a cover for the man that wrote the Christian Bible. He works for Alan Bond, the war profiteer, and all of his stories about working in league with Iran are made up. Kevin Barrett does the same thing. I dedicated a lot of time to talking to Kevin Barrett. They get invited as academics. They're married to Muslims and they tear the world apart by sectarian division. And Peter Eyre claims that that is somebody else's fault, and the man who reads the BBC News on Remembrance Sunday, Dimbleby, refused to let Peter Eyre ask a question about tyranny on the telly. It's pathetic. All of them are stealing from their country, and whoever made that phone call is doing the same thing. There are rafts and rafts and tiers of people that are employed to protect this and to persecute the people that are trying to make society decent. Anyway, I'm going for a little walk or a jog, and have we looked at directors? Oh my goodness. So we were kind of triumphant yesterday that we spent 45 minutes looking at his interlocks to field marshals and banking figureheads and people that are stealing from children that are engaged in university educations. But there are 5 different Edmunds. So let me just finish off by proclaiming who they are. Baron Edmond De Rothschild, no postcode available. Baron Benjamin Edmund Morris De Rothschild, no postcode available. Edmund De Rothschild UK Limited, Southwest 1 5AA. None of them proclaiming that they are in the St Swithin's Lane address that the one that we dissected for 45 minutes yesterday resided in. It's the Bank of England. Edmund De Rothschild Investment Partners, no postcode. LCF De Rothschild Securities Limited. Which one shall we go for? Let's just have a quick look and see if it gets us into the Caymans or somewhere nice for a holiday. Morris. That could be the French connection again. We might get into the Med somewhere. Oh no, Switzerland. Registered address Chateau de Pregny, 1292 Pregny, Switzerland. Let's go back and so Directors 5, was that the first one? Let's have a look at this one. Baron Edmund De Rothschild. This will be the one. Oh no, it's got no postcode. Oh no, that's Pregny. Sorry, the suspense is not killing me. It's thoroughly enjoyable to see how the whole world has no future. I will not relent. When I'm over with the divorce case, I will be able to dedicate all of my time to pinning them to the wall, like they laugh at pinning Jesus to the cross. Yeah, all of the time they laugh about that. All of the time the false news covers it up. And all of the names that they choose give the game away. That was the Morris one. So both of those are in Pregny. This one's in the UK. Let's see where. Southwest 1. That could be right next door to MI6 4 Carlton Gardens. Will Carling again. Oh no, it's Carlton, not Carling. Carlton. Sorry, I've done you an injustice, Will, and my relative who used to be the Scottish rugby captain. Edmund De Rothschild Private Merchant Banking LLP. Oh frickin' hell. Dr. Constantine Nicholas Maria. Yeah, that's a man and a woman, and that could be the Virgin. Mettenheimer. Edmund De Rothschild UK. Mr. Christoph. That could be a joke about Christ. Ladagny. Mr. Enric Oliver Schliemann. Mr. Richard David Beggs. And Mr. Richard Reginald Magdley. So this is a new one. I cannot see the street address. Or did we see that already? No. So this is directors and secretaries for what we have looked up as a company. Oh yeah, it's Carlton Gardens. Let's see if we get into the havens. LCF Edmund De Rothschild Securities Limited. Previous member. Right, so that's a company that's a previous member's name. You can see they're supposed to be individuals. Let's have a wee look. St Martin's Lane. Now I don't know what Martin was sainted for. Yeah, but in the frauds I've mentioned about Otago University and the Paris, Texas joke, the Martin guy who used to be my main teacher at Otago University in pharmacology, he was stolen by a man called Kurt Kraus, who is a pharma magnate at Pfizer USA Limited, worked in Bristol, and all of what he does is making new drugs about things that we regard as models for psychiatric illnesses. Those are the drugs that we give to the people in sub-Saharan Africa, who are given them because that is the most potent analgesic that they're allowed to have access to because of the profiteering. Yeah, the name of that drug is ketamine. It produces dissociative psychiatric crises and symptoms, just like being a loony. Yeah, and now they're trying to get it licensed and registered at Otago University in the biochemistry department, where when I left, Kurt Kraus was the boss, took over from the elite yachting family that used to take the piss out of me and persecute me relentlessly for being interested in filing patents, because I went to their meetings in their building. That was the building where Frank Griffin, the top 1,000 Freemasons in the globe, who used to work for Ag Research, which is a part and an extension of the Crown Office right across New Zealand. None of New Zealand is owned by anybody in New Zealand. Yeah, and we've got Edmond De Rothschild Securities Limited, Upper St Martin's Lane, and because this is a company, the year of birth of the director is unknown, but its ID is 917079222. There we go. I'm going to stop there. You could spiral around in their Ponzi shells forever. Yeah, and it's quite shocking that this is just one person in the list of 290, and everything that they do is covered up by prime ministers, presidents, cabinet secretary members, people that now, because of their complicity in all of these evil sins against the world's people, have nothing on record in Hansard. But they do have people prepared to come down from Galashiels and knock on my door and let me talk to them openly about the religious fraud and the fact that when Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, the authors lived in the Villa Papyri underneath. Yeah, everybody now knows the potency of my research. I now know all about what they do, and each one of these corrupted Rothschilds I'm picking apart one at a time. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed your little trip to Monaco and to Luxembourg, and that you can see the depth of the crimes that these people are committing against all global communities. Bye bye. Sorry, there is no colour and there's very limited music, but do you get the irony that the best musicians and actors on the globe, yeah, they're all from the elite families that run the world for 2,000 years. Look at the video on all of George W. Bush's friends and all of the presidents in America, and how they get to power, and how they are gotten to power using the same methods as Mountbatten used to introduce the Queen to the murderous Prince Philip, who murders anybody that gets in his profiteering way, and he has totally stripped out the sovereignty of the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, which is where Frank Griffin at Otago University helped him along. Yeah, the man who's the psychiatrist and came back to launch ketamine as a treatment in Dunedin, his children became unhinged. Yeah, and I keep telling you that God gives everybody that steals from its neighbours a big conscience about that issue. I don't want that to happen to the Harris family. I'd love them to give me a call and to introduce me to decency in Hertfordshire, because none of it exists there anymore, since all of them became slaves to this system. Okay, bye bye.